What's going on, Cancer? And welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and I hope you're feeling fantastic today. So for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just amazing, Cancer. And it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Higher Self has brought you here. We are in for an amazing journey. So the purpose of this channel, for those of you who have Cancer in your placement, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, wherever, Cancer, this one's for you. And I do tarot card spreads based off our ruler here, the good old Moon. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, and when she's going void of cautious, all of those lunar shenanigans. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me. Never force a reading on the situation, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Now, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Gems, feeling lovely. Just great energy all around here, Cancer. And I mean, how could it not be? I mean, you got the Moon in Taurus, the Moon's exalted in Taurus, and the dispositor's Venus. Venus is in our sign. It's just everything's simpatico, Cancer. But with the Moon being in Taurus, you know, this may bring up feelings of security there, Cancer. You may might bring up questions of like, how are we feeling, like, you know, financially, you know, how are we feeling physically, you know, emotionally, mentally, you know, because that's one of the aspects that Taurus covers, is our senses of security. But also, you know, Taurus is a very much a sign of the senses. So doing some things, you know, doing some self-care, Cancer, whether that be, you know, cooking a home-cooked meal, or maybe doing some rearranging around your safe space, or, you know, maybe listen to some soft music, maybe hopping in a bubble bath, whatever that looks like, Cancer. Treat yourself. But another thing too, just because, you know, Taurus, you know, they're represented by the bull, you know, they can be a little stubborn sometimes just because they're the fixed element of earth, you know, that's just something to be mindful of. You know, we want to be careful of stubbornness or bullheadedness there, Cancer. But also, this is actually really nice because it kind of pairs well with the waning crescent phase, or the balsamic moon, which is, this energy is great for, again, for self-care, doing some deep breathing, and really just kind of assessing your values, you know, and releasing control to the universe, thinking about what we want to do for this next lunar cycle, and just really kind of just relax, rest, and recuperate, and just, you know, really get in that mindset of you know, before we get ready to jump into this thing happening tomorrow on Venus Day, because Venus rules over Friday. So something to think about, Cancer. And then the last couple of things. These readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations. And then the decks that I'm working with, I've included links for them down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you're interested there, Cancer. Ha! Look at you, you master. You got the 9th card of Capricorns here, which is the Master card. And with this card, this is a card of discipline, working smart, focus, structure, teaching, training, conquer, overcome, controlled, learning a skill, in the flow, authoritarian, and commanding presence. And, you know, Cancer, I feel like, you know, for some of us, you know, this is thinking about, is there an area that you want to focus in, you know, that you want to refine, you know, that we want to get some training in. Come on, you martial artists, where do you want to feel stronger at? And then think about that, you know, how we're going to go approach that going into this lunar cycle starting up here tomorrow. But I also kind of feel with this energy as well, if we've been in like just thinking with that authoritarian, that almost gives me kind of like almost like an emperor in reverse type of vibes. If we've been in like a situation that has been feeling a little oppressive, or, you know, has been like I almost get like an inhibiting your growth or something along those lines, Cancer. You have like a commanding presence or like a dominating presence or things that maybe, because it's one thing I feel like if we have someone who's trying to like push us, but it's another thing that if we're having someone that's like, I don't know, maybe even overworking us or maybe even trying to diminish our skills. So just, it's kind of popping up in my head, Cancer. So just something to think about with this energy. But this is a great, really, you know, how we were just talking about Taurus, you know, great time for thinking about what ways we can structure our lives, you know, and if there are any areas that we are feeling that we want to overcome, that we might be feeling a little weaker in, so that we can get a little stronger in that, Cancer. But let's get a little bit, see how we can work with this energy. I like that, Cancer. You got the Magician here. And with the Magician, you know, for me, I love this guy because like, look at him kind of cooking up stuff in his lab there. And I feel like he's learning, you know, this journey I feel like is about trial and error. But the Magician does let you know that you have all the tools that you need within to refine, Cancer, but it's just like that you need in you to refine. It's just doing those deep dives, asking those questions, and then staying disciplined in them. Because when you make leveling you up a routine, man, it just gets easier and easier and easier, and then you just start learning skills like crazy. And the Magician, this is Mercury. So, you know, Mercury's, granted, you know, depending on when you're watching this, will be in the shadow, I want to say, until the end of May. Because when the shadow phase is when, you know, it's when Mercury gets back to the degree that it initially retrograded on. So we'll still have that little bit of effect, but things are going to start clearing up, Cancer, you know, and with Mercury being in Taurus, at least up until like the beginning of June, this is a great time for thinking about some practical things. You know, how can we get secure? How can we feel more, how can we refine our manifestation? Everything along those lines, Cancer. Let's see what else we got here. Huh. More learning here, Cancer. You got the Queen of Swords here. But I feel like with this is Libra's card, and you know she rules the first two decans of Libra and the last of Virgos, and I feel like that this is, you know, getting yourself in balance and finding harmony, your routine there, Cancer. But I also feel like for some of you as well, that this could be an energy that if you've been thinking about wanting to do some teaching, you know, maybe you have some knowledge here that you want to pass down, some cool little skills, you know, maybe you're trying to level up here, Cancer. I mean, why not? You know, what better way to solidify the skills that you already have than by teaching? And then, because you know, as you're teaching others, you know, your skills, they're going to go about it a certain way, and then that may unlock like, oh, I never thought to do it that way. Oh, let me try, and then see how that manifests on you, you know? So that's another thing to think about too, Cancer. Let's see what else we have here. Nice. You got the King of Coins here. And the King of Coins, he's the type that when he's become an expert in his craft, the King of Coins is very generous with his abundance. He's the type that he doesn't just want to bask in this by himself. He wants others to share in this. You know, this is Virgo's cards. He rules the first two of Virgos and the last of Leo. And he's all about helping others. He wants to, I'm getting like, really there's a strong energy, either we might be thinking about doing some teaching, Cancer, or maybe we might be thinking about maybe we're feeling Queen of Swords and we want to get some knowledge, and maybe we might want to hit up a King of Coins type, maybe looking for a mentor, you know, something along those lines. And if that's something you're considering, Cancer, absolutely. I feel like especially if it's going to get you to that level of expertise, be open to the idea. Collaboration is the name of the game, and especially if it's going to get you closer to the highest vibration of yourself, Cancer, do that thing. and then pass that knowledge that you have along, Cancer. Let's keep the flow going. Help the next generation to really help refine your skills. Help them, if anything, help them manifest faster. So. I like that. You got the Ten of Wands here, Cancer. I think we kind of had talked about this not too long ago, because with the Ten of Wands, I feel like for some of you, if we're thinking about learning something, but we're focusing on because sometimes I think when we set out for goals, sometimes we can think about where, yes, we get excited, but then it's like, oh, I'm going to have to do X, I'm going to do A through F, and then it's just like, F. I thought this was going to be a lot easier than this. We can think about the burdens of things, and that can kind of deter us before we've even put in the work, Cancer. So that's just I feel like something to think about, when we're going about doing this stuff. Yes, it's going to be a little bit of work, but it's going to strengthen you, Cancer. It's going to get you to this King of Coins state. And when you think about Capricorn, our opposite sign, Capricorn's the type, if it's going to get them to this place of abundance, yeah, we may have to put in, it might be cranking in a little bit extra hours. You might have to juggle some things, but if it's going to get you to that end game, they're the achievers of the Zodiac, Cancer. And so just something to think about. Remember that it's all this work, these burdens, these things, it's all going to be worth it in the long run. But if this thing feels burdensome, it's like maybe finding some ways that we can introduce some fun into the mix. Find ways we can laugh while we're working, or whatever that or whatever this is, this pursuit that we may be going on, Cancer. Like if you're thinking about running a marathon, that's something where, yeah, getting up to that pace can be challenging, but it's just like, how can we I don't know, how can we get ourselves pumped up and, get it to just lighten this load a little bit, to realize that it's not, because this is Saturn and Sagittarius, and we just don't want to think that it's like restricting your expansion, Cancer. It really is trying to help you grow, but it's just depending on the size of the dream. You got King of Coins dreams, you got to put in King of Coins work. So just, something to think about, Cancer. Alrighty, let's see what are going to be some challenges in working with this energy. And this is going to be great energy too, Cancer. Talk about learning skills, especially with the sun getting ready to move into Gemini here soon. Absolutely. Learn some stuff here. Absolutely. So one of your challenges, you got the Nine of Coins here. And the Nine of Coins, it's putting in that work. Sometimes it can be hard when we're, sometimes when we start stuff, it's like we can, if we happen to get where something, where life just maybe happens somewhere in between, that can kind of throw us off our flow, Cancer. And then we can get in this place of where it's like, oh, well, maybe I'll get it like the next lunar cycle. But it's just like, well, no, it's just like, just because it happened to break during the middle of the lunar cycle, that doesn't mean it stops. We can pick it right back up tomorrow. The moon is very forgiving, Cancer. But I do feel that, the Nine of Coins, this is working towards pre-Empress energy. And your Empress, yesterday, your Empress game is on point here, Cancer. So remember that, we're working towards, this work is going to be where, yes, sometimes it can feel a little arduous at times. It can feel like it might push us to our limits, but it's how we level up. We can't achieve the same. It's like, when you think about like a video game, for example, like I'm thinking of Pokemon more specifically, the first thing that popped in my head. But, if you're trying to level up let's say your monster's at level 30, you're not going to go to a level 5 field to level up. That would take forever. You got to take some level 30 challenges. Hell, you might need to take some level 40 challenges if you want to speed some things along here. But and it's too, Cancer, when it's talk about the working smart, making this thing work for you. If you want to run a marathon, maybe like you don't have to, make it work for you if you want to. If working out on a treadmill is, not doing it for you, maybe getting more outside, or maybe if outside's not doing it for you, doing more on the treadmill, making this thing a work for you. We don't want to, when we set out to start these things, we don't want to set ourselves up to fail, when we're thinking about like for example, I'm not a gym person, but I like working out. So it's like, well, what can I do? I work out from home, and that's how I like doing it. Because then for me personally, because I would use the weather as an excuse. I'd say I was tired. It would be way easier for me to talk myself out of it than now if I'm home. It's just like, well, you're here, your gym's right here. What are you doing? So just thinking about Cancer, or thinking about that Cancer. Working smart. Make these energies work for you. So just you got it. What? Oh, okay. See, you got it so much. We moving on to advice from Venus. Let's see what else we got here. Oh. Interesting. Okay. So you got the Ten of Swords here, the Nine of Coins, and then you got the Knight of Coins, and then you got the Temperance card. And so some advice here, Cancer. I feel like one thing with this Cancer, when we're working on this stuff, this refining, these learning new skills and things, this training, be patient with yourself. This is Taurus's card. And I feel that, kind of with this, when we're going through this thing, Cancer, when we're doing this training, if we find that we have moments where we feel like that we're not making any progress, if we feel stuck, like we're not, that we're really getting in our heads and kind of just like, how can, you know what I mean, Cancer? Because the Ten of Swords, this can be a card of like rock bottom, but this more so is giving me like an energy of just like, you know what, I'm ready to just like give up. It's just like I'm over this, like this has become too much. It's like the Ten of Wands. It was one thing when we were just like kind of like, okay, come on, push through, you got this. But now it's gotten to our heads where it's like now our motivation is kind of starting to wane as well. If you notice that imbalance is happening here, that line is starting, let's pause, let's reassess. The lovely thing about this lunar cycles is that you can be flexible with this stuff. I mean, the moon's doing a lot of phases. She's adaptable. So if we need to tweak things midway through, that's fine. It's not going to be a setback. If anything, you're learning about your body. You're learning about how you learn, and it can be a lot to overcome, but it's so rewarding in the long run, Cancer. Absolutely, because that's what's happening here, Cancer. You got hold on. Okay, Cancer. So you got the Death card here, Cancer. Let's switch back over. Because that's the whole point of this thing, Cancer. It's to get you to that level up. I love that. After you go through the Death card, temperance, balance, refinement. It's alchemy. This is, and listen, Cancer, when we're working on this stuff, it can feel a little tough sometimes, when we're dealing with transformation and metamorphosis and things. It can, and it just, the temperance is just like expansion and learning more about ourselves. It can feel like a lot sometimes. It can weigh down on our heads to where we just might want to just kind of like, abandon that. But just when we remember that end game. Remember that King of Coins, the skills that you're going to learn, the Magician, the Empress that you're becoming, Nine of Coins. And we put in that work, Knight of Coins, man, it's going to be wonderful. And you know what? Just thinking with this, if you are in a place where we're not sure what we want to master, if that's what we've been asking ourselves, then I find the best way to find that clarity really is to journey within. Scorpio energy, do that deep dive. Ask yourself these really, what would raise your vibration through the roof? What do you want to? What would make you feel like you're in your highest octave, or that you're getting closer to that achievement, Cancer? And then go out there with gusto and go there with confidence, and know that with time, it might feel a little tricky at first, but you're gonna You're going to get through it just fine. You're going to be dancing like this. You're going to be dancing like that skeleton, like, whoop, whoop, change. If anything, you'll be like, come on. Haven't had any adversity, any change in a while. Where's the growth at? So I'm with it, Cancer. I think I'm going to leave that there. So give that a thumbs up if something in there resonated for you. And share this, Cancer, if you know someone who's been, because it can be a little hard, when we're getting into training and learning the skills and stuff. And I'll tell you what, really, Cancer, when you get through this thing, what better way to help someone else, because we really are in a time of being inspirational. So this is something that you can be an inspiration, be a commanding presence, a leader of a sense, Cancer. And then if you haven't already, to you, leader, and then all your disciples, tell them to subscribe and then hit that bell button and get notified when I release videos each week. And then I'm on this meditation app, Insight Timer. This might be something to do while you're learning your skills. But I created a group on there called Zodiacs Raising the Vibration. And it's just a group on there to drop positive affirmations and encouraging messages. Talk about your journeys and how what things or tools and tips and tricks that you use to kind of help keep you motivated and absolutely just raise that vibration to the roof, Cancer. And then as the group grows, definitely want to schedule some like meditations, with the groups and things. So come on over to that, Cancer, and all that information is in the description box. And then the last little thing, check your sun, your moon, your rising. I want to say I included some links for some apps in there, Cancer. All you need is your date, place, and time of birth. So check that out. Get to learn yourself. And then come on over to my other channel, Alchemist Date. I do videos weekly there. It's a good old time. And all that housekeeping down in the description box below. But let me get you surprise cards here, so I can get you out of here, get you expanding, get you thinking about how you're going to grow. Because you got the Three of Wands here. And then, I'm getting your Oracle card. The Three of Wands, it really is about, when we focus on this training and start honing these skills, more and more opportunities open up for you, Cancer. And it becomes this... it does, it becomes a whole different experience. So remember that end game the goal is growth. It's expansion, and it's higher learning. But let me see, let's see what your Oracle card is. You got the Milk Thistle card here, Cancer, but we got that in reverse here. And this is a card of the Peaceful Warrior. And this is Mars, and this ruled by Mars and the Moon. And so I really feel like with the Milk Thistle, Cancer, that this to me kind of feels like if we have, because when you think about what Milk Thistle does, it really is, and this is not medical advice or anything like that, Cancer, but it really helps assist with the liver, kind of like purge, the toxins and things. Not purge, but like just assist the liver, filter through with the liver, do what it does. And I feel like, anything to just like to help you kind of, Cancer, do what you do better, like if we can find, like really working smart with your energies and finding out how we can really just get our energies in a groove here and get everything just kind of lining up. I feel like you'll feel like this warrior, and you'll feel at peace because there's an understanding of how you operate. There's this oneness that's happening here. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave that there, Cancer. So you stay safe out there. And you keep eyes on the moon. Well, it's going to be a little hard now that we're getting ready to get into that new moon phase. But, meditate under the moon, Cancer. Be thinking about what your next intention here. Get yourself in a place of peace and calm, and then be thinking about how you want, what dreams, moon stuff do you want to take action with, Mars energy. And I will, come on, mouse. And I will catch you on the next one tomorrow.